St. Louis County Historical Society, in partnership with its American Indian Advisory Committee, spent the day honoring Native American heritage. Northern News Now, Sophia Lauber spoke with organizers about the opportunities this event offers to everyone in the community.
Native American Heritage Day started 8 years ago as a way to participate in Native American Heritage Month while sharing local Ojibwe culture. This year, it held special significance as it recognized the 100th anniversary of Native Americans gaining citizenship.
Obviously we've been here for longer than that, but it's kind of an interesting thing to recognize that we've only gotten citizenship 100 years ago. And so we wanted to talk about kind of those things leading up to that, but then what our hopes are for the next 100 years.
The event was held at the Depot, where Native American exhibits and collections were on display. This year's gathering featured a panel discussion on Native American citizenship, crafts, informational tables, and a fry bread lunch. But as people shared conversation over the meal, one attendee said she felt like something was missing.
I feel like looking around, I don't see a ton of people my age. And so I feel like it's just really important to get people out here and understand the importance of the indigenous tribes in Duluth.
It's a challenge also recognized by members of the advisory committee. Michelle Hakala-Beeksma said that while the event generally is well attended by Native people, she'd like to see more non-Native community members come and take part in the discussion.
You know, that idea of learning about your neighbor and understanding, I think that's gonna, increase that idea of respecting each other's cultures.
Hakala-Beeksma and other organizers invite anyone to come take part, listen, ask questions, and learn. In Duluth, Sophia Lauber, Northern News Now.
The Depot does have a permanent Lake Superior Ojibwe gallery for those interested in learning more.